Hello and welcome to the Intel Brief. Today is Tuesday, 20 January. I'm your host Daniel, and today we're going to talk about Trump has tied Greenland demands to the Nobel Peace Prize in a letter to the Norwegian Prime Minister. Bulgaria's president has stepped down before a snap election, and residents in Erbil have protested outside the US Embassy. So firstly, US President Donald Trump says he no longer feels obliged to think only of peace after he was not awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. In a message to the Norwegian Prime Minister, Trump blamed the country for not giving him the prize. In his reply to Trump, the Prime Minister, explained that an independent committee, not the government of Norway, awards the prize, which last October went to the Venezuelan opposition leader. In the same message, he said that Trump insisted the US needed complete and total control of Greenland, a semi-autonomous region of Danish territory, and asked if he planned to use force to seize it. He replied, "No comment." So what? I just wanted to, I posted about this last night. I just wanted to re-highlight this because it's all getting a bit out of hand. And if this is really what is causing him to want Greenland so much, which seems unlikely. Like, I feel he must have better people giving him advice than him just being angry at a completely different Scandinavian country that he decided he wants to, go and take Greenland just because he can. It's pretty crazy. The letter is on the screen now if you want to read it, or I posted it in my post last night. Pretty wild. It seems like the rantings and ravings of a madman who just didn't get his own way and is now upset. And the level of political instability that this is causing at a time where the West needs to be unified against threats is significant and pretty distressing, to be completely honest. Yeah, I don't know. And this is just the most recent thing in a series of crazy events. So I don't know. I thought it was just worth highlighting again. And next, Bulgarian politician Rumen Radev on Monday announced that he will officially resign as the nation's president on Tuesday and will be replaced by the vice president, who will serve in his stead until new elections are held. His term was slated to end in 2026. He is the first leader to resign in Bulgaria since the former Soviet nation became independent in 1991. In his address to the nation, he said, "The battle for the future of our homeland lies ahead, and I believe we will face it together with all of you, the worthy, the inspired, and the unyielding. We are ready, we can, and will succeed." So what? I mean, this is kind of unsurprising. He has faced, like most leaders at this current state, he's facing a lot of pushback from just the general public around cost of living, cost of housing, and lack of economic opportunity. It's a pretty standard story that we're hearing from lots of countries. Bulgaria, again, many others, has faced large protests against the current leadership because of their lack of just fixing these problems, that everybody's facing. Sadly, there doesn't really seem to be a good fix. And yeah, no one seems to have a solution at this point. These protests are happening in lots of countries. Lots of countries are currently facing economic hardship. And yeah, so I don't know if Bulgaria has the answer. I would think it's unlikely, but hopefully a new election will probably bring some, new revitalized leadership. But as we're seeing in lots of other countries, new leadership quite often doesn't mean new opportunities and changes. And lastly, a large number of demonstrators have gathered in Erbil on Monday night, raising the Kurdish flag in front of the US General Consulate to call on the United States to condemn recent attacks by the Syrian Arab Army on Western Kurdistan. This paper is a Kurdish paper, so yes, it is actually southeastern Syria. So it says there. Participants carrying Kurdish flags marched through the streets before assembling outside the consulate, expressing concern over the latest developments in Kurdistan. During the protests, demonstrators chanted slogans emphasizing Kurdish unity and the need to protect the political and social gains made in southeast Syria. They also urged the international community, particularly the United States, to take a clear stance against actions they believed to be threatening regional stability. So what? Of course they're pissed, right? The Kurds have been the US allies since before the invasion of Iraq. So well over 20 years now. And they feel that the US is just selling them out to dry. They've controlled those regions in southeast Syria for a long time now. And it's been pretty prosperous, pretty safe. They got rid of the Islamic State, they did everything they should have done and the West has asked them to do. And now, because there's a new leadership in Syria, the US is kind of pulling back. The first order effects here to me is, they lose control in southeast Syria, probably withdrawing back into Iraq and trying to defend from there, where, Iraqi Kurdistan is much more well established. It's written into law now that they are autonomous. So, that'll probably happen. But the flow-on effects is other countries that the US and the West wants to partner with going forward. If you want to be conducting military action in foreign countries, generally need a local partner force to be doing this, to give you some legitimacy, give you some local knowledge, and, to do it more effectively and better for long-term stability. Stuff like this makes other countries wonder, and other groups wonder, or other organizations wonder how real this support is, and whether the US and the West is actually going to help them long term, or if as soon as they've achieved their aims, they'll just leave them out to dry. That's my worry here. It's about more than just Kurdistan. It's about the message we're sending to current and future allies around the world. Anyway, that's been the Intel Brief. I've been your host, Daniel, and I'll see you again tomorrow. See you.